Hey guys, Mike Lawson here. This video was inspired by a friend of mine, Rick Sawley, who did a video last night on just his upbringing and just being bullied, and it just spoke to me. It just hit me, and he said something during this video that really just brought me to tears. The world we're living in today with technology and social media, I mean, listen, the bullying's got to stop. And I wanted to do a video talking about bullying because he had the courage to do it, and I just wanted to share with everybody. Not a lot of people know this part of my life, but I was on both sides of being bullied. I grew up with a violent upbringing, and where my father was violent physically and emotionally, and my brother was a fighter. I turned out to be a fighter, and I think a lot of it comes from the top down. What you see, what you experience, and my brother being a little bit older, some of his friends used to come over, and what I mean, just listen, boys are boys, right? So they used to gang up on me and tease me and things like that, and a lot of it was harmless, but some of them, I remember getting a sense of it not being harmless, being a little bit scared, and like Rick said in his video last night, there is one defining moment that when you're bullied that we can all go back and point to, and I remember leaving, and I went to a Catholic school, and I remember leaving grade school one day, and I know his name, and I'm not going to say it, but I remember being scared. I remember being, and we used to walk home. I lived a couple blocks away from school, and I just remember being scared. He was I think he was 2 years older, and he was just he was a badass, and I remember being scared, and I remember like just that feeling of being scared and not knowing what to do and being helpless. And I think that day, I think my friend actually got beat up instead of me. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I know there's a lot of people out there that have gone through this or been a part of it, and some of you guys that know, that grew up in the same neighborhood as me. I don't mind you guys chipping in and sharing, because I knew I went from seeing that stuff and being around violence, and my brother being a fighter and me getting into a lot of fights. I remember, and then I started to I was never I don't believe that I was the kind of person where I used to throw the person into the locker and constantly pick on people, but I was a punk. I knew I was a punk, and some of the older guys in the neighborhood would actually set up fights for me, and I think a lot of it for me was attention. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be a part of that in crowd, and some of these guys would literally set up fights, and I would go and fight people. And I remember, listen, some of the kids that I fought were tough as well, and I remember being scared. And there was other kids, and those kids, some of them wanted to fight, and there was other kids that just didn't want to fight. And I remember this one kid literally jumped a fence, like a 12-foot fence to get away, and these kids made this fight happen. But I allowed it to happen, you know what I mean? And I was part of, being a bully. I was part of it. I was being bullied, and I was bullying other people. And then there came a point in my life where, seeing my mother go through what she was going through, I became more of a protector. Now listen, I was a punk all the way through high school and even out of high school. I'm not going to deny that, but in my heart, and that's just my makeup. My makeup is I'm a protector. I've always wanted to protect my kids, my mom, my sisters, and just coming from that upbringing. So I was a protector, and I would find myself Rich Brown. I'm sure you got more than that, and please feel free to share. I mean, and I actually asked Tim too. And I was just thinking about this. I said, Tim, was I a bully? Because I didn't honestly think of myself as a bully. I remember being a punk. I remember getting in a lot of fights. I remember having a lot of anger. But I didn't consider myself a bully? And I actually asked him, and he said, kind of. So kind of means I was. And I remember this one instance where, and it might have been like second grade, I remember, picking on this girl, and I don't even know what for. And, we went to Catholic school, and the Catholic school girls had these shoes that, man, they had steel tips in the shoes. Well, I remember, I'll never forget it, we were across the street at the playground, across the street from my mom's house, and I was teasing her, and she kicked me so hard in my shin that I've never felt pain like that before, and that was the last time I ever teased her. So listen, if you're being bullied, maybe you're older, or maybe you have kids, or somebody that's being bullied, kick that person in the shin, punch them in the face. If you're being bullied, don't put up with it. That just, I don't know if that's politically correct, but that just, no one should ever have to feel like that. You should be able to defend yourself. No one should ever feel teased or made fun of, I remember, and I've been I've been away from it for a few years because my kids are driving now and they drive themselves to school. But when I was driving my kids to school and just seeing other kids not have the things that they have, not have the nice shoes or the nice clothes, and just thinking to myself, man, these kids are going into school and getting bullied. Kids are making fun of them because they don't have designer clothes and they don't look the part. And I would just literally leave, dropping my kids off from school and telling them every day, you don't realize how lucky you are and how good you have it. And, I don't want to get off track, but listen, if you're, and when Rick talked, and he said this in his video last night, with social media, I can't imagine if we had social media 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I can't imagine growing up with social media, what these kids are going through. Now listen, school's getting ready to start in the next month. And I challenge you, if you've ever been bullied, or somebody, you've had a best friend that's been bullied, I challenge you to do a video like this, just talking about it, so we can spread the word and get the word out there. You know how many kids are going to school, getting ready? I mean, they're nervous, they're getting scared, right? Because summer's almost over and they got to go back to school, maybe face those bullies again, or maybe not have the nice clothes to wear to go to school. And this time of the year should be a happy time of the year, and they can't even enjoy themselves because of what they're going to go through and experience going to the next grade. My daughter, was bullied, a few years ago because she's a pretty girl and she was bullied. I kind of prepared her for that because, listen, you're going to have, and I've talked about haters, but it's not right. So I challenge you that if you've ever been bullied or know somebody who's been bullied, do a video, get it out there, share it, because if there's anybody that or that especially a child or somebody younger that I could talk to, feel free to send me a message. I'd love to be able to maybe talk to them or help them, let them know that they have a friend, that they don't have to put up with that stuff, that there's more to life. And another thing that I'll share with you is a lot of these people that are bullies in grade school and high school, a lot of them turn out to be nobodies in life. And a lot of the people that have been bullied, that have gone through that, okay, they use that experience to go out there and be successful. Okay, so if they're getting bullied, they need to know that they have a life out there, that these people that are bullying them are going to turn out, most likely are going to turn out to be losers, turn out to be nobodies. So why are they putting up with that, putting up with it now? And again, I'm ranting, but when I heard this, and I heard it from Rick last night, and it just brought me to tears. I can't imagine kids, literally, because my kids are on their phone. They're nonstop, 24 hours a day. They're looking at their phones. Can you imagine kids being bullied, and they're on Snapchat, or they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, or whatever they're on, and they're just scared to look at it, or they're being bullied, or they're being put down, some of these kids think that what they see on social media, everyone's got this great life and everyone's so happy, and this bully's putting them down. Man, it just does something to me, right? It just does something to me. Even though I was a fighter and a punk and went through that phase, but again, in my heart, I'm a protector. I like protecting people, I like helping people, and I just always put my nose into situations where I shouldn't have. And I still do that. If I hear people arguing in the supermarket, I kind of try to pick a side and make sure it's it's fair. And I think it's because of some of the instances that 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 I've gone through. But man, I can't imagine especially the kids, man. I can't imagine some of these kids, what they're going through, especially on social media, and being scared to go to school. I can't imagine it. So if you know anybody or their kid, somebody's kids or cousins or family members, whoever, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to talk to them and get them through that stuff, man. It's tough out there. I can't imagine growing up with it and having this little, and how many people hide behind this phone to hurt other people and put them down. And it's not right. I mean, everybody deserves to go to school and to get an education, not have to worry about what they're wearing or if they're in the in crowd or they're not, or worry about leaving school and getting beat up and hang around people that are just mean, mean people. So again, I'm ranting. I want to stop ranting right now, but I just wanted to do this video because Rick inspired me, and I told him I was going to do it. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the hardest things I did because I was kind of putting it off all day long. So I wanted to get it out there. I didn't really prepare for it. Just had some things I wanted to share. So let's stop the bullying. Again, I challenge you to put a video out there. If you've ever been bullied or you have a story, get it out there. Let's help some of these kids or adults that are being bullied at work or being bullied wherever. Let's put an end to it. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.